Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. In today's video we're going to be doing a no Reinier guide for the endless mode of the King Croaker boss. And then towards the end we will also try a Reinier team and compare the damage to see where the no Reinier team will stand. So for quick information about the King Croaker boss, he has an insta-kill ability that will target the most frontline hero on your team. And that is why you have to run Thorin here. And if you don't have Thorin, you need to put him on your wish list and get at least one copy of him. In the King Croaker boss, Thorin is necessary. There's no one which does his job as well as him. And even on top of that, Thorin is one of the key debuffers to run in Dream Realm bosses. So he also increases the damage that the boss will receive by 17% at maximum level of the Soul Plunder. And you want to have at least him at one copy. Mythic Plus is perfect because then he has the Soul Pact, so he'll have a third life, and he can tank the third and final insta-kill the boss uses. You need to run Smokey here, and if Smokey's at Mythic Plus, he will be getting off more damage. You can decide where to run him if you want him to be up in the front or in the second line. Both would be fine, but the up in the front position will allow him to buff as much of the field as possible, and so your damage dealers will get off more damage if he's in this position. But if you're having issues with surviving, you can move him to the back line. Koko is a normal unit that people will run here if you have any difficulty surviving. Like we mentioned in yesterday's video, if the boss is going to kill your team and you're going to wipe even 20 seconds left on the boss and one or two of your heroes die, it would have just been better for you to be running Koko to keep everyone protected, and Koko is the best at doing that and really good for this boss. And also you can get factional advantage bonuses with Koko too. So as for the damage dealers, usually you'll want to run OD and Merrily as your two key damage dealers. They will be getting off the most in the King Croaker boss. We're going to check the comparison compared to Kroer. In the endless mode, the true damage dealers like Kroer will also do well and do better. But for some reason, OD still shines in the King Croaker boss, and we'll do some experimentation. And definitely if you're not running Reinier, I think you have to be running OD, because otherwise the issue is you will not get the factional bonus. I want to try, first of all, for the first team we try, I want to try Kroer. And Kroer is also a really good option. We'll try the Quick Blade spell. If there's no issue surviving, this will allow you to get off a little bit more damage than the Evocation spell. But Evocation spell is a very good option as well. Both of them will increase your damage. But let's take a look. Okay, so if your Thorin is not Mythic Plus, then Kroer is probably the best option here, because then he will be able to tank the third insta-kill, and all of your backline heroes will still be dealing their damage. Otherwise, if your Thorin like dies, for example, and you have 4 heroes in the back, then the third insta-kill the boss uses will be on one of those backline heroes, probably Smokey, and then Smokey will get nuked and die with a little bit of time left on the boss. And you don't want that to happen. So as you can tell here, there's not really any issues with survivability of our team, because Smokey is constantly healing them up. It does get a little bit close, and at earlier stages of this boss, definitely I can understand going for Koko probably is the best option. And actually Odie did get nuked. Okay, so Koko probably still is the best option. I thought maybe it would be different because of the fact that we're like quite a high level. I thought we could get away with Kroer, but apparently not. The boss still deals a lot of damage even at this level in endless mode, so it wouldn't be until you get to a higher level that you can actually, I guess, replace Kroer. So yeah, the OD damage is pretty good. Like, I mean, OD died with 30 seconds left on the boss fight, and still he did almost as much as Merrily. So I think that if you don't have Reinier at Mythic Plus, this is your dream team, the team you're aiming for. And I can't see that there's anything doing better than this team. You will need to have Merrily at Mythic Plus if you want to use her here. If you don't have her at Mythic Plus, you can run Kroer if Kroer is at Mythic Plus. If you don't have either at Mythic Plus, then you can run another damage dealer like Cicia, even Floribel, even if they're not that highly ascended. Vala can also work as a damage dealer. She's probably Mythic Plus. Cassidy can even work. And I want to do some testing with Cassidy, because I think Cassidy kind of pretty well in this boss, but I don't know how well. Okay, so we will try again. Yeah, we will try again with this team. And you can also try the evocation spell if there's still survivability issues. But I think with Koko, it should be fine. And just one tank Doran is enough if he has the Soul Pact. So if he's at Mythic Plus. Because then he will take 3 insta-kills. Like, take the first insta-kill, resurrect. Take the second insta-kill, resurrect. Because it's Soul Pact. And then tank the third insta-kill. And then the boss doesn't go for a 4th insta-kill. Even though, like, Doran will be gone from the battlefield. The boss will just then begin using his bubbles. And you'll also notice that Smokey sometimes gets taken, like, takes a lot of aggro when, like, Doran is resurrecting because the boss begins targeting Smokey. And that's why I said Smokey can be in the second, like, line. And maybe that can help you survive for a bit longer. So right there is where OD died in the previous fight, but Koko is going to keep them all alive. And especially if Koko is at Mythic Plus with the shielding too, pretty much your team cannot die here. And that's really valuable because without the Koko here, Smokey would have died by this point. Let's take a look at the damage though. It is not that much higher than when OD even died. It's 33.2 billion damage, and we'll take a look at the damage contribution. Very similar from OD and Merrily. So yeah, I do recommend, like, if you're gonna be running a team like this, I think this is the dream team. Merrily is the best option. Probably the Quick Blade spell if you're not having issues surviving. Otherwise, you try the Evocation spell. Both of them get off over 11 billion damage at this level. If we ran Kroer would probably do similar damage, but I don't see why we would run him instead of Merrily. It would just basically depend on if you don't have Merrily at Mythic Plus, then you could try that. But I think OD is a must to run here, even before Mythic Plus. And the Kroer team would be better if it could somehow survive. So it would be better than Koko, because of course if you're running Kroer, you're going to get off more damage than if you're running Koko. But if you're having issues surviving until the end like we have here, then Koko is the better option. But once you get to higher levels, I think Kroer will be the best option here. Apart from that, I want to try a few more teams. If, for example, you don't have the Merrily here,
Come on.
we can try the same team with Kroer, if Kroer is at Mythic Plus. I'm not sure if I'm going to try Cassidy because I feel like most people would not have Cassidy at Mythic Plus before Kroer, for example, and I don't believe that running Cassidy would be better than Kroer. Like, Kroer, OD, Merrily, these are your key damage dealers for the Dream Realm boss. In the Endless mode, Kroer and Merrily do usually better than OD, but in this specific King Croaker boss, OD does really well. And I guess it's just because poison is ticking throughout the fight. In Skyclops, OD was replaced because whenever Skyclops summons his minions, then the boss stops taking damage. And so I think then the poison damage is on paused, and then I guess that's why OD is not the best over there. Yeah, Kroer is really good. I mean, Kroer is really good, and he also provides a bit of extra survivability for your team with the shields, but not by much. It's still really Koko who is keeping your team alive here. But I mean, you could even experiment with maybe with the Kroer try Kroer instead of the Koko, and maybe still you would have no issue surviving. So this was 30.9, so quite a bit less damage than the Merrily. Merrily will contribute more damage than Kroer, and even looking at this Kroer damage, OD is contributing more. So your two key damagers are OD and Merrily. They should both be at Mythic Plus, and OD is the best at Supreme Plus. Merrily and Kroer, they do not need Supreme Plus. That's just for the stats of their Ascension. The effect of their ability doesn't improve their damage at Supreme Plus. So OD, priority Supreme Plus, but make sure Mythic Plus on Merrily and OD both. Koko will help survive longer at Mythic Plus, but I think she would help you survive enough even without Mythic Plus. Doran, you want to have Mythic Plus for Soul Pact to take the 3 insta-kills. Otherwise, the 3rd insta-kill is going to hit one of your team, probably Smokey, and kill Smokey. But Doran at 1 copy can work in the early stages, and look at the Smokey damage, 5 billion, and that's all thanks to Mythic Plus. If you don't have Smokey at Mythic Plus, she will not be dealing that 5 billion damage. So I think that's pretty much the best teams you can be running. If you don't, for example, have like these, like we mentioned earlier on, you can run Cecia, you can try to run Floribel, you can run Vala, Cassidy, depending on what you have ascended. But it shouldn't, if it's a like nothing is well ascended, then just run Cecia or Floribel. They do pretty well in damage, even without ascension. Or you can even do this, but I don't think this is a good idea, because like Kroer would deal his own type of damage, like his physical damage. Odie is dealing magical damage, so the physical defense debuff is really only amplifying Kroger's own damage, which is not that much to begin with, but he would still do a decent amount of damage. Okay, now with all of that covered, now we're going to do the dream like either spender team, or if you've gotten lucky and gotten Reinier to Mythic Plus by this point, then this is the team that you can run. And I think definitely for Dream Run Boss, this would be the best team option with the Quick Blaze spell, and you would just have to do enough runs until your team doesn't wipe. I don't know if I want, we're going to be buffing up the Merrily, I think. I don't think we want OD in the front, because then he would be taking too much aggro, and I think he might die. So yeah, this is probably the best team, but it might even have survivability issues, because the one that I did to get the 33.7 billion, which is our top score, I used Corrin and Merrily both, and the Corrin shields might have helped survive for a bit longer. And again, with this team, you're going to want Thorin at Mythic Plus. Of course, Reinier has to be Mythic Plus, otherwise there's no sense in running him in this boss, because... But with both Reinier and Thorin in here, the damage the boss receives is increased by both 25% and 17%. So Smokey's going to be dealing more magical damage, Odie's going to be dealing more magical damage, Merrily's going to be dealing more physical damage. You just want to make sure Odie doesn't die here. Odie got popped, okay. So you're going to have to do some reattempts if you try running this team, because it doesn't have Koko. And there's not really any room for Koko in this team. In early game stages, if you're running a single damage here, like before Endless mode, and it's all about protect the OD with Reinier and Thorin, then you can run no Merrily here and run Koko instead for protection. But at this stage, you need to run 2 damage dealers, otherwise your damage cannot even compare. So with this team, we even did less, and quite a bit less than the no Reinier team. But I think with enough RNG attempts, this will be the best scoring team. You just need OD to survive. I wonder, like, why not? Let's try putting OD into the front line and see if he can somehow survive. Because it really is the bubbles which are killing your team, not necessarily the boss aggroing your heroes. And also the other advantage, when Reinier is at... Okay, so this is not even something to mention really, but when Reinier is at plus 10 exclusive equipment, then the damage received by your position swapped ally is going to be reduced by 25%, so he basically becomes tankier, the OD. But plus 10 exclusive equipment on Reinier is not a priority. I just did it because I had like leftover stuff, and I did most of and I thought I was going to use Reinier all the time in Raging Duel on defense, but Reinier is still not a good defensive option. Okay, good. So, good. Yeah, this is perfect. Merrily is not going to get nuked in the back. And OD is more than able to tank the frontline damage. And it doesn't really... And also, he's protecting the Smokey, because then Smokey receives no aggro. The aggro just goes on the OD. Yeah, this is the all-time best team. And even now, there is survivability issues. We die earlier. 33.2 billion.
Perfection.
Yeah, I don't know, because really in this team there is no room for Koko if you're gonna run double damage dealer, and if you're gonna run single damage dealer, it won't be the optimal for you. And I tried this, so I did this team, but with Corrin and Merrily. We can do one final test with this, and that's how I got my best score, 33.7 billion. Maybe it can be better than that. I think with the Corrin and yeah, with the Corrin comp like we have here, your team can survive until the end, even without Koko, or my team can survive, but OD will deal more damage, but I guess the team just dies too quickly. So in a few more like level ups, then the OD team will probably be the optimal one. And as you can probably notice from the King Croker boss, when the bar is charging up, the white bar underneath his health, that is when he's taking like normal damage. But when he then creates a shield around himself, and you have to destroy that shield, and while destroying that shield, your damage is greatly reduced. Like, the damage output is very low. And so, surviving throughout the whole fight is pretty important, because after this, we break this shield, then there's basically a final period of time where you're bursting the boss with maximum damage. Okay, so even the Reinier team is not doing that much better than the non-Reinier team. Which is also just a good thing. Koko is kind of just better at this stage with our levels. And yeah, Merrily is doing more damage. OD is dealing more damage than Kroer here, so OD is preferred to Kroer in this boss. And if we take a look at the leaderboards, we are rank 2, but even, I think, so, did we get 33.2 billion with the non-Reinier team? Even then, we would still be rank 2, the position we're at. And in the district, 33 billion is still very competitive. And again, it's based on the levels of our account. We have high levels on our heroes, but it goes to show you that there is not that much difference between the Reinier team and the non-Reinier team. But I think when we go to like an even later stage of the endless mode, like when we're maybe levels 550 or 600 and the whole team is surviving throughout the entire fight, then the OD Merrily Reinier comp will be the best. But for right now, because that comp wipes a bit early, I think the Koko comp without Reinier is a very viable option. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. That is going to be it for this one. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, because we upload daily AFK journey videos with updates and guides to help your progress and stay up to date with everything. Like earlier today, we did the new A-level hero, which will be coming out, so check out that video if you haven't seen it yet. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. That is going to be it for this one, and I will hopefully see you in tomorrow's video. But until then, everyone, peace out for now.